Welcome to my madness, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be taking a look at these knockoff amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Arkham Knight figures. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so today we're going to be taking a look at these two figures here, and right off the bat, obviously, as I said, these are knockoff figures, ones you've probably seen quite a few times if you frequent places like AliExpress or Temu.com or other places like that. You see these figures out there, you think they're really cheap. Are they any good? Well, I wanted to find out, so I ordered a couple of them. And of course, they are the exact same figure. You can actually do some swaps on it and get two different figures out of it, which is why I ordered two. I wanted to kind of see if they were any good in either configuration. Now, before we get too far into it, I will kind of go through the accessories that you get with this figure. And as he comes, he is done up more like this one here on the right as the kind of typical Arkham Knight look. And when you get him in the package, he comes like that. He does come with the spare head, upper arms, fore-end pieces, and, knee caps to replace, to get him to look more like the Red Hood. He also comes with a replacement head, replacement shoulders. He does also come with 3 extra sets of hands. So he's got his fisted hands, he's got his gun hands, open hands, and then kind of pointer finger hands there as well. Then he also comes with 2 different swappable chest plates, kind of the red Arkham Knight chest plate, and then of course the kind of Red Hood chest plate, couple extra knives, and a couple of swords. And then he also does come with a pretty nice kind of a posing or flight stand as well. And all in all, it's a lot of accessories in the package for the figure, but I mean, it is pretty much the same thing you would get with an actual official Revoltech figure. Now, real quick, I do just have to say that I'm making no, moral judgment on whether or not you should or shouldn't purchase knockoff figures. That's completely up to you. Do what you want to do. I just sometimes like to pick up some of these figures, either because they're things that aren't made anymore, or maybe I just want to see if they're any good. You see the pictures online, they look pretty good, and I kind of just get curious and want to find out if they're actually legitimate, or if they're going to come in and turn out to be something completely different than what you thought you ordered, which I have had happen before. However, this time, of course, just going by looks, they do look exactly as they look when you actually go and, pick one of these up and you're looking at the pictures and that kind of thing. They look exactly as pictured, but the question, of course, then becomes, what kind of quality are we looking at here? Now, I don't have this figure in the Revoltech line. I do have several Revoltech figures, and just to be perfectly honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Revoltech stuff. I have probably about 6 or 7 of their figures. They're okay. They're usually too small for my collection. Sometimes even smaller than even 6-inch scale, true 6-inch scale. Much less something that would fit in with, let's say, a Marvel Legends collection or, DC/UC, something like that, where you're more of that 6.5-inch scale. So I'm not the biggest fan of Revoltech for scale, and also I hate their shoulder joints, and some of the joint work they go with is just kind of crazy and only looks good in certain positions and things like that. So again, not the biggest fan, but I wanted to try this out because it does look like a pretty cool figure. So I have some experience with Revoltech stuff, just not this specific figure. And I gotta say, playing around with it here, it actually has impressed me quite a bit, especially given what I paid for these guys, which we'll talk about here towards the end of the chat. They're actually not bad, and to kind of put one of them aside here, I actually kind of like the Red Hood look better for this guy. You've got all the same stuff that you would have on a Revoltech figure, as far as your shoulder joints, having the ball socket there and the rotation. You do have upper rotation there. On the arm, you've got that ball joint there that comes up all the way. You've got a ball joint there on the wrist that moves around. You've got the upper torso joint there that gets some really, really good crouching there. He doesn't go back quite as well just because the armor on the back prevents him from going back. You've got that ball joint there on the lower torso, which comes over pretty well, and you also get rotation there. You know, you get hips that come out all the way. You know, you've got that weird angled cut thigh joint there, which is just weird, and I hate it, but like it's there. You know, you've got the kind of sort of double jointed knees, not really. You've got a single joint here at this angled cut, just like you would on the Revoltech figure. And then you've also got this secondary joint down on the calf. And between the two of them, you can get the legs basically all the way up. He can kick his own ass there at that point. And then standard, you know, ball sockets there on the feet, and then the head is on two ball joints. You got one down at the bottom of the neck, one at the top of the neck. That gives you some pretty good movement there. He can't really look up much, mostly because of the collar on the upper torso, but you know, he looks down pretty good and can get some good tilt and everything. So articulation is actually there, and I've been playing with both these figures here for a couple of days now, and I gotta say, I haven't noticed anything particularly delicate or, to be honest, just, you know, poorly made on this figure. I mean, it comes across pretty nice. And again, I've got other Revoltech figures, and even as somebody like me who's not a fan of the figures I have, I gotta say, I like this one. In fact, I gotta say, I think I like this figure, as far as Revoltech figures go, better than any of the other ones I currently have. And I've got a few, mostly Iron Man figures, and a Boba Fett, and a couple of others here and there. And those are by far not my favorite figures in my collection. And I gotta say, I actually like these guys quite a bit, and they actually look really, really good. I mean, they're nice looking figures. And so to what extent these are quote unquote knockoffs, you know, like where did they skimp and save money to get these figures? I don't know. Maybe it's the quality of plastic, and maybe, who knows, maybe a week from now I'll be posing one of these guys and a joint will snap or something. You know, that could always happen, you know, no doubt about that. But as they sit now, as I've been playing with them for a couple of days, I gotta say, I am pretty impressed with what these guys do. And I'm pretty impressed with the sculpt and the paintwork and the detail and just the way that you can actually like get the figure like this, snap off all the parts with no issues whatsoever, and swap him out to have him looking like Red Hood over here. I mean, I gotta say, it's a pretty damn cool figure, and I am honestly very, very impressed with this guy. And I can understand why on the secondary market, this figure, an original Revoltech figure, is so expensive. I mean, he hovers in the 120 to 140 range. You know, on the aftermarket, I can see why. It's a really, really good figure. And again, I'm just looking at a KO, not even the real thing. I can understand why this is one of the more sought after Revoltech figures. But as a KO, guys, I gotta tell you, I mean, this thing's really, really cool. Now, I do want to go ahead and do some comparisons here and show you guys these two with some other figures, just to kind of give you a sense of scale and where this might fall into your collection. All right, so to compare these guys to other DC figures out there that you may or may not collect. Of course, at the back, we've got our 7-inch scale figures. So on the left, we've got DC Collectibles Essentials. On the right, we've got McFarlane. Now, obviously, these guys are not going to fit in with a 7-inch scale collection. There's just no way, okay? So if you collect 7-inch scale stuff and you're looking to add to that DC collection, this is not the way to go. However, if you do collect DC-UC figures or other 6 to 6.5 inch scale DC figures, some of the older figures out there, whether they be the Mattel DC Multiverse or DC-UC or Signature Collection or whatever it is, I mean, I look at these two and they fit in absolutely beautifully with DC-UC as far as scale goes. I think they look absolutely amazing. So for me, since my collection is now leaning more towards 6 to 6.5 inch scale DC figures, as I'm kind of purging the 7-inch scale stuff, these work beautifully for me. All right, so let's talk price here real quick. And I picked up both these guys on Temu for $17 a piece, and it was free shipping. 17 bucks a piece. And again, these are knockoffs, I know it, but comparing that to $120 to $140 for figures that, while I make no, claims about the longevity of these figures, certainly in hand and playing around with them, I am very, very happy with. I mean, come on, it's kind of hard to beat that, to be honest with you guys. I mean, these guys are pretty cool for 17 bucks. I mean, that is That is cheaper than a McFarlane or, you know, a Marvel Legends. Even at this point, Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, or I mean, we're talking these are going for like Star Wars vintage collection prices at this point. Is it worth that? Absolutely, it is. I mean, these are cool figures, and again, you know, based on the materials and things like that, they may be more delicate. You may have issues with them long term, but I gotta say, for the price, like. It is really, really hard to look at these and not see the value of being able to pick these guys up, to add them to your collection, if for no other reason than just to see how cool they are. I mean, again, they are not very expensive at all. I mean, these dudes are great. So I gotta say, guys, I think they're well worth it. I really do. They have really impressed me. They really have. Even though I'm not a fan of Revoltech, these knockoffs have impressed me quite a bit. So yeah, I think they're absolutely worth it. But would love to hear what you guys think in the comment section down below. Have you tried any of these? And if you have, what was your experience with them? And what do you think about knockoffs in general? I'm usually not a fan, but occasionally you run across some good ones. And that's pretty cool when you do, especially when you can get them for a good price. But let me know in the comment section down below. Would love to hear what you guys think. So thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it as always. And always remember to enjoy your collection.